The captain profile. So before we go into the details of how to specifically manage them, it's really important we have a look at their high and low drivers and what needs come off that. So for a captain profile, their two highest drive will be their dominance drive. That's that drive to exert influence on people or events. When you've got a high dominance drive, you typically need independence, control over your own activities. You like to think about the big picture and where you're heading. So typically very future focused. In terms of that higher social drive, they love connection, building relationships, working with other people, but ultimately towards that goal, because you will see captains always having a higher dominance drive than social, but the social drive still is there. So they're high influencers typically and will suit roles that will allow them to do that. They've got a lower patience drive, so they love working quite quickly with a level of intensity because that'll be their widest factor combination is their proactivity. And they'll need to be in an environment that allows them to do that. And then they've got that wonderful corporate hook. So they will get into details, rules, and structure, but only on things they like, they're interested, or know they have to do. Now, that's going to be a real secret ingredient when we're managing them. If we need them to deliver things to a high standard, or it's about checking and triple checking and conforming to rules, they can absolutely do that, but it has to meet that criteria. They have to be interested in it, they want to be motivated by it. Or, you know what, this is one thing you cannot break the rule on. So it's a real enforcement of the company. So keep that in mind when you do want to motivate them to get something done at that very high standard. Otherwise, they're going to be an absolute innovator, a problem solver, a challenger of the world around them. Now, in terms of motivating them, provide them with opportunity to set themselves some big goals and work with you on that. They would love to create new ideas and to innovate. They definitely sit in that innovation and agility quadrant. Allow them independence and really freedom from too much structure and rules. They don't like working where there's too much rules and structure. And publicly recognize them for achievements. They really do like to feel that sense of achievement. And because of that high social drive, they want to see their name on that leaderboard or achieve that award and feel quite recognized publicly by their peers. That will be important for them. Now, when providing direction, it's important you provide proof or examples when giving feedback. They're pretty self-assured in their own way of completing things. So if you've got to give them feedback, make sure you go in with that evidence because otherwise you might find yourself being challenged. Offer practical advice and feedback. They're going to want to implement things quickly. So be quite practical in your feedback to them. Lay out clear specifics when work does need to be done by a particular due date or a particular way. Make sure you're very clear. Here's when it's due and here's the standard. So that they know, great, now I've got to conform to this particular standard. But don't delegate work that's really repetitive. If there's something you've got to do all day, every day, or every week in a particular way, they can get a little bit bored with highly repetitive tasks over a long period of time. So we typically see them as real change initiators, not necessarily change implementers. So that's something to keep in mind when you're managing them. If you do need them to see something through, is how are they going to do that? What's the plan around that? And how can they stay motivated when they're coming back and doing repetitive work on change implementation? Do delegate work that's challenging, it's strategic, it involves some high impact decision making. That will absolutely motivate them. Now, in terms of coaching, it's good to remind them that not everyone will have the same pace with that standard and will be as competitive as them. So again, helping them understand the pace and achievement levels of others may not always be the same as them. And ask them about the details of the plan. They're really good at talking about the intangible, but it's a great role that you'll be able to play in supporting them. Well, what is the plan? You know, you've got this vision in your head. How can we turn it to reality? And really question them and how do we get this to turn into reality? And help them balance their need to take control of things versus working with and through other people. So they do like to be in the driver's seat, but there'll always be benefits in collaborating with other people and getting input on ideas from others. So again, you can help support and coach them in that space as well. So hopefully this has been really helpful on how to best manage a captain profile.